Hey, Eric Sider here, and in this video I'm going to be showing you my method for making sauerkraut. It's super simple. I learned it from my good friend Nicole Rice, and I'll put her info in the description. Alright, let's get into it. Alright, so I always like to remove the first few outer layers of the cabbages, particularly if you're buying them from the store. And actually older cabbages, those not fresh from harvest, make better sauerkraut because they've had time to age, which creates more sugar, which is actually better for feeding the lactic acid bacteria. Now as far as shredding goes, I mean it's really up to your preferences. You can have a Cuisinart or food processor to do it electronically, or a knife is easy enough. And so just get your cabbages shredded, and then we'll be moving on to the next part. Alright, so we got our shredded cabbage, and now we're going to be adding the salt to create our brine. And my preferred salt is the Celtic sea salt, but any good quality sea salt will do, or Himalayan salt if you have it. And a good ratio of salt to cabbage is about 3 tablespoons of salt to 5 pounds of shredded cabbage, or 2.2 kilograms of shredded cabbage. Alright, now that you've added the salt, what you're going to be doing is massaging the cabbage and salt together, and this is going to help break down the cabbage and create a brine. So you can do this, get a good mixture, and then come back about every 2 hours and do it again. And then basically once you have enough liquid to cover the shredded cabbage, you're good to go and move it into your jar. I find about at least 3 massage sessions produces a good quality brine. So now it's time to get the salted massage cabbage in the jar, and I use the clamp style jar as opposed to the open air crock with weights to keep the cabbage below the brine level. Alright, so here's our filled jar on its home, ready to start fermenting. About 3 to 4 days, and we'll give it a taste test, and then in the fridge it goes. Alright, too easy. Alright, so this is ready to go. Now, how do you know when your sauerkraut's done fermenting and ready to go into cold storage or the fridge? Well, unfortunately, it kind of depends. It's going to depend on what the average room temperature is and possibly even the size of your cabbage bits. But I found more or less 3 to 4 days, and with a room temperature in the low 70s or so, should just about do it. Now, one of the things I always look for is that all the green from the fresh cabbage is gone. It's kind of like that pale yellow now. You're going to see bubbles forming after about day 2 or so. And then it just comes down to taste, really. It's one thing you really want to make sure is now you're going to smell like a sour kind of vinegary smell, but not like off-putting. Now, if you go to smell that and it's like rancid and you go like that, then something's gone wrong, and you want to definitely throw that out and clean and sterilize your jar and go again. Now, this jar is not what most people use. They use a crock with weights to keep the kraut below the brine, and I think that probably works for most people. I learned this method because Nicole was finding that particularly in the hotter climates and the warmer months, that the liquid above the weight could kind of go off, and not necessarily that it's bad, like it's going to hurt you or anything, but that just the flavor itself might not be that nice, and you'd end up discarding that. So this keeps all the air out, and it's sealed, but it's not so sealed that it's going to trap the gases and cause a problem. So this will slowly burp little bits, and then if you want to go a step further, you can get the little tubes that allow the gas out but nothing to go in, like the airlocks. But I like this, works well, and I got heaps of sauerkraut ready to go. We'll give it a little taste. That's good. And you can, if you make a bunch, you can age it in the fridge and take it out as necessary. But after about a month, it starts getting really good. And my friend Nicole, she says she doesn't like to eat sauerkraut until it's been in the fridge for 3 months. So you can have fun with it. Definitely put cabbages on your growing guide, and they're cheap. You can buy them in the store. The ones I got, they sat in the fridge for almost a month before I finally got around to using them, and they were still perfectly fine. So cabbage is a good storage crop, and great way to make sauerkraut. Get that probiotics, get those enzymes, boost your health, and if you're truly eating seasonally, you're going to need to get into fermentations. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope you got something out of it. Hit the like button, subscribe, share with your friends. All right, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.